There are times when anxiety is so overwhelming that the only thing that relieves it is crying. But you hold it in, you close your throat, you take a deep breath, you swallow hard, because you've learned that showing it is a sign of weakness, that it's better to appear strong than to be genuine. But I'm going to ask you something now, and I want you to listen with all your soul. Why are you so afraid to cry? Maybe you say it's so you don't seem fragile. Maybe you say you don't have time. Or maybe deep down you know if you start, you're afraid you won't stop. The truth is that many people who suffer from anxiety are living a silent war against their own hearts. It's like you're trying to maintain control of everything, holding the world on your shoulders, and yet suffocating inside. And crying, the kind that tries to come in moments of exhaustion, becomes almost an enemy. If I cry now, it's because I lost. But what if it's exactly the opposite? Jordan Peterson often says that emotions come to the surface when we touch the truth. Crying, according to him, it's not a collapse. It's contact. Connect with a part of you that has been ignored for too long. Have you ever noticed that in those moments when you finally let the tears fall? Does something rearrange itself inside you? Sometimes it's not immediate relief. Sometimes it hurts even more. But then comes that silence. That space where the mind isn't trying to run from anything, where the body isn't trying to appear invulnerable. And in that silence, for the first time in days, you can breathe. Do you know what this is? This is the beginning of healing. Because anxiety, often it's the body trying to warn you about something you don't want to consciously feel. It is the muffled cry of the soul asking, please hear me, see me, allow me to be real. But when you stop crying, you interrupt this process. You close the door to the truth. And that's where anxiety becomes cruel, because she doesn't want to destroy you. She just wants to be heard. It's a part of you trying to survive in an environment where your emotions have been taught to be silenced, hidden, ignored. How many times have you cried in secret in the bathroom? How many times have you held back tears until your head hurts? How many times have you wished someone would say, you can cry, I'm here. So today, hear this with all your being. You can cry. You need to cry. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, something profoundly right happens when you finally allow yourself to fall, because falling into tear is truly rising up. This video is a space for that, to feel, to disarm, and I want to accompany you on this journey. In the next few minutes, we'll explore not only because crying is essential, but as it can be one of the most powerful ways to transform your relationship with anxiety. Anxiety doesn't go away with motivational phrases. It goes away when you finally give space to the real pain behind it. And often this pain wants to come out in the form of tears. You'll see. When you stop fighting the tears, anxiety stops fighting you. Have you ever felt that pressure in your chest that just won't go away? As if there was something inside trying to get out, but you didn't know how. Maybe it comes like a lump in your throat, a tightness that rises and falls, or perhaps a silent anguish that simply won't go away. This feeling, this suffocation, often is the tears you didn't have the courage to shed. The body doesn't know how to lie. When you hold back a true emotion, it carries it like a weight. It's like trying to hold back a river with your hands. The water accumulates, the force increases, and at some point, it overflows. If it's not in tears, it will be in symptoms. Tachycardia, chest pain, dry mouth, shortness of breath, anxiety. You are not sick. You are carrying more than you can handle. You are trying to survive in an emotional system that never taught you how to express yourself. And now, that system is collapsing. Jordan Peterson explains that when an emotion is repressed for too long, it turns into internal chaos. The psyche begins to disorganize. You lose your sense of clarity. You begin to feel confused, lost, and helpless. And do you know what's cruelest about all this? You start to believe that you are the problem. But it's not you. It's the emotional prison you've been conditioned to live in. As a child, you learned that crying was wrong, that he was ugly, that he bothered others. And so, he began to fall silent, first out of fear of punishment, then out of shame, and finally, out of habit. Today, your body is trying to break this habit by force. Every anxiety attack can be the echo of an interrupted cry. Every panic, a cry for help that was never heard. And what happens when you ignore this? The body tries to compensate. It starts sending stronger, more intense signals until you get to the point where you can't pretend anymore. You feel like you're going to explode or disappear. But look, you don't have to wait for that point of collapse. You can start today, right now, doing something different. To recognize that the tears you hold back, it is not weakness. It is accumulated emotional energy. It's your soul wanting to breathe. Peterson says that order is born from chaos. But for that to happen, chaos needs to be recognized. You need to get in touch with the pain, not to drown in it, but to move through it. And going through the pain requires you to feel it, not as a victim, but as someone who finally decided to be honest with himself. So I ask you again, how many times have you stopped yourself from crying out of pride, for fear of appearing too weak? How many times have you wanted to break down, but you heard that voice saying, if you start, you won't be able to get back to normal? But maybe what you call normal be exactly what is killing you inside. Maybe your true balance point is after crying, after the fall, after the surrender. It is not surrender to despair. It is surrender to the truth. The truth is that you're exhausted, that you have too many things stuck in your head, that you do need a space where you can let it all out. Today, that space could be here. You can stop for 5 minutes, close your eyes, breathe, and let it out, without fear, without guilt, shameless. Tears are not a sign that you have lost. They are a sign that you still feels, and whoever still feels is still alive. It can still change. It can still heal. Have you ever noticed that most people who live with anxiety are seen as strong? Yes, precisely those who endure everything in silence, who solve problems, who seem firm, but inside, they are on the verge of collapse. Anxiety often is not the opposite of strength, but the result of a misdirected force. You learn to be strong by obligation, not by choice. You learn to stand up straight, even when everything inside you was asking you to fall. And now, the fear that accompanies you is not to fail. It is to fall apart, to finally feel everything you've been pushing under the emotional rug for years. You are more afraid of feeling than of suffering, because you've already gotten used to suffering. But feel? Really feel? It scares. It exposes. It disarms. Jordan Peterson says, avoiding emotional collapse is postponing one's own transformation. In other words, as long as you keep fighting to appear invincible, you will remain trapped in this cycle of silent pain. Let's face this truthfully. You are not afraid of falling. You are afraid of not being able to get up afterwards. But here's a truth you need to hear, even if it hurts. You've been on the emotional floor for a long time now, but he keeps trying to look whole on the outside while he's in pieces on the inside. It tires you out. It makes you sick. This distances you from yourself. Maybe no one sees. Maybe no one notices. But you feel it. You feel it when you wake up with your heart racing. You feel when your chest tightens for no reason. Feel when your head doesn't stop even in silence. You feel it when you're surrounded by people, and yet you still feel alone. You are fighting a fall that has already happened. The collapse you fear so much has already begun, and the more you try to maintain appearances, the more the pain builds up. Peterson says the real hero is not the one that never falls. It is the one who, when falling, decides to face what brought him down. And maybe at this moment, what's keeping you stuck is this fear of allowing yourself to be human, allow yourself to feel, allowing yourself to cry. Yes, crying is scary, because it comes loaded with memories, old pains, unhealed wounds, but it also carries something sacred, the possibility of rebirth. No one is reborn without first passing through darkness. No one rebuilds themselves without first falling apart. So breathe and recognizes there is no shame in falling. Shame is spending your whole life pretending everything is fine while you wallow in silence. And if you're here right now, listening to this, maybe it's time for you to stop fighting the inevitable and start to free yourself from within. You won't fall apart forever. You will fall apart just long enough to rebuild who you really are, that's why. If this resonates with you in any way, please subscribe and like. This will help this video reach someone who might be desperate right now, and you'll have been a part of that. You grew up hearing that crying is for weak people, that those who cry lose control, become vulnerable, and surrender. But let me tell you something that could change your relationship with anxiety forever. You don't cry because you're weak. You cry because you're in touch with the truth. Yes, that's right. Crying is a neurological, biological, and symbolic response to the collapse of a lie you held within yourself. It's the exact moment when something inside you stops resisting, and he begins, finally, to accept it. Jordan Peterson points out that emotion arises when what you believed about the world falls apart, when the story you told yourself conflicts with reality, and that's when the tears come, not from weakness, but from confronting something you've put off for too long. You know that time you cried without understanding why? Maybe it was because, at that moment, something profound finally made sense, and the truth, when it enters, disorganizes what was trapped. It affects the emotional structure. She unlocks the knot. She opens the floodgate. Crying is the sign that you is no longer trying to control everything. It is an act of surrender, yes, but not to despair. It is surrender to reality, and there's a huge difference there. To despair is to drown in illusion. Crying, is emerging into truth. But why does it hurt so much? Because sustaining lies is tiring, and when they fall, promises, images, and false identities that you created to survive fall with them. You told yourself everything was fine, that you were strong enough, that could handle it, that he didn't need help. And then, one day, you cry, and you realize, no, I'm not okay. I need space. I need relief. And in that instant, and only in that instant, you are being true to yourself. That's why crying is sacred, because it is not programmed. He is spontaneous. It comes from the soul. Peterson reminds us that emotions don't lie, and that means that when you cry, there is something inside you saying, this is real, this matters, this needs to be felt. You can fool the whole world with a smile, but it doesn't fool the body. Do not deceive the heart. It does not deceive the unconscious. And that's where the healing begins, the moment you stop lying to yourself. But be careful. Allowing yourself to cry does not mean giving into chaos. It means recognizing that pain needs to be felt to be overcome. You don't have to cry all the time, but you need to allow the crying to come when it is needed. You need to let it do its job. Why the crying? It's not the end. This is the beginning. It's the body removing accumulated emotional waste. It's the heart saying, enough pretending. I want to live for real. So the next time you feel like crying, don't run away. Do not swallow. Don't run. Breathe. Close your eyes and say to yourself, I'm ready to feel the truth. And if it hurts, that's okay. If it gets disorganized, that's okay. You are being reborn, and rebirths almost always begin with tears. You weren't born afraid to cry. You learned. He learned to repress, to hide, to swallow. You came into this world with crying as your first language. The first thing he did when he was born was scream, not with words, but with raw, pure, instinctive emotion. And what did the world do with it? In the early years, you heard phrases like, stop crying, swallow that crying. Do you want me to give you a real reason to cry? Men don't cry. Be strong. Hold it there. These phrases became internal commands, and these commands created what you experience today. Anxiety, suffocation, emotional disconnection. You weren't taught how to deal with crying. You were trained to interrupt him. And do you know what the consequence of this is? Every time your body tries to express itself, you censor it. Every time your emotion tries to come out, you stifle it. Every time something inside you asks for support, you respond with self-demand. I cannot give myself that right. I have to. Keep going. I can't lose control. Crying is drama. It's weakness. But look, that's not strength. That's toxic emotional conditioning. And the more you repress, the more your body screams. Jordan Peterson is clear in stating, all repression has a psychic cost, and this cost manifests itself in the form of symptoms: anxiety attacks, insomnia, chronic tension, pent-up anger, feelings of suffocation. You are not like this because you are weak. You are like this because you were taught to deny your emotions. And denying what is real is slowly going crazy. Shall we look at this seriously? How many times have you been told that you needed to be an adult when all you needed was a cuddle? How many times have you been told to keep your head up when all you needed was a sincere hug? And the worst part, over time you started repeating these commands to yourself. It has become its own emotional oppressor. You say it yourself. I don't have time to feel this way right now. I'll sort it out later. It's no big deal. And it accumulates. It endures. It gets sick. The crying that doesn't come out through tears comes out through symptoms, by fear, by stiffness, by exhaustion. You may even look strong on the outside, but inside, he is truly emotionally dehydrated, and that's why anxiety becomes so present. It appears as a kind of final warning, one last attempt by your body to say, you can't keep ignoring yourself. So, let me tell you something you may never have heard. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to take yourself apart if that's what your body needs. Because crying is a request to reconnect with your own humanity, and to repress that is to reject who you are. Peterson talks about the importance of emotional integration, about accepting that the human being is a field of internal battles, but it doesn't have to be a field of denial. You were taught to keep quiet, but now you can relearn how to listen to yourself. And maybe it all starts with a single choice. Don't swallow anymore what needs to come out. The body speaks, always. And when you don't allow the tears to speak for you, the body finds other ways. Paths that hurt, that scare, that often make you believe you're going crazy. How many times have you felt your heart race for no apparent reason? How many times has your breathing become short, heavy, as if no air is coming in? How many times has a pain in your chest or a pressure in your head made you believe there was something physically wrong with you? These signals are not random. They are the body's cry when you insist on silencing the soul. Jordan Peterson often says that when you voluntarily avoid confronting pain, pain manifests itself involuntarily. And that's exactly what happens when you refuse to cry. The tears you don't let fall turn into anxiety. The suppressed sob turns into shortness of breath. The lump in the throat turns into constant anguish. The body cannot endure being the prison of emotions forever. He finds loopholes, and these gaps become symptoms. Have you ever noticed that after a crying fit, your breathing changes? That the body relaxes, even if it is exhausted? It's because crying has a real biological function. It regulates the nervous system. It discharges accumulated tension. It releases chemicals that promote calm. Now think about it. If you never allow this natural process, where will all this cargo end up? Inside you. Consuming you from the UI, inside, turning every day into a silent battle. And that's why so many people live in a constant state of alert. Not because the world is always about to collapse, but because their bodies is already full of unprocessed emotions. And anxiety is nothing more than a reflection of this excess. Peterson reminds us that denial is a contract with suffering. If you deny your tears, you sign a contract to carry the pain even more cruelly. You don't escape pain by avoiding crying. You just transfer it elsewhere. And that place is your body. But there is a way out. And it starts when you stop fighting the obvious. You need to cry, not as a meaningless collapse, but as an act of honesty with yourself. Every time you allow yourself to cry, even silently, you are giving your body a chance to breathe again. You are breaking the cycle of repression that would turn into crisis. You are saying to yourself, I allow myself to feel. I allow myself to be human. And it is at that moment that anxiety loses strength, because she no longer needs to shout to be heard. You've already opened the door. So the next time you feel that weight, don't run away. Don't try to control. Don't force yourself to look good. Allow yourself to cry. Let the body speak, because what comes next is relief. If you felt this video helped you, subscribe and like it. This isn't about numbers, it's about reach. Someone right now is drowning in silence, and you could be the one to help them with just this gesture. Have you ever noticed how after a deep cry something changes inside you? It's not just the physical feeling of tiredness. It's almost as if the weight that was crushing your soul has dissolved a little, as if suddenly there was space to breathe, to reorganize thoughts, to exist more lightly. This happens because crying is not just an emotional reflex. It is literally an act of psychological cleansing. Jordan Peterson often explains that emotions, when left unexpressed, accumulate like dust under a rug. You can sweep there for days, weeks, even years, but at some point the hidden volume starts to become unbearable, and the collapse comes. Crying is the process of opening the rug and releasing what can no longer be held back. Biologically, emotional tears are different from ordinary tears, like the ones you get when you cut an onion. Researchers have discovered that they carry stress hormones and toxins produced by the body during times of emotional overload. In other words, when you really cry, you are literally expelling the chemical weight of your pain. It's as if the body has invented a mechanism to purify the mind. But here's the deeper point. It's not just the body that gets cleaned, it's the soul. Crying allows you to reconcile with parts of yourself that have been forgotten. It makes room for painful memories to surface, for hidden hurts to be released, for old guilt to lose its power. And in the process, he gives you something precious back: clarity. After crying, how many times have you realized that something that seemed impossible to deal with became more bearable? That the decision that was stuck became clearer? That the problem, although it still exists, no longer weighs so heavily? It's because crying reorganizes. It removes the excess, the exaggeration, the distorted emotional charge, and what's left is you in contact with the harsh reality. Peterson would say that crying is an encounter between chaos and order. Chaos is pent up, accumulated, emotion ready to explode. Order is what is born when you allow yourself to release that chaos in tears. It's a miniature renaissance, but many people still refuse to see this. They believe that crying is a sign of a definitive breakdown, when in fact, it is the opposite. The real breakdown happens when you never cry, when everything is stored, compacted, until there is no more space inside you. So, I ask you, how many cries have you been putting off? How many days have you spent with your throat tight, swallowing tears that beg to come out? How many times have you told yourself not now, and that not now turned into months or even years? Every tear held back becomes a stone in your emotional backpack, and the more stones you carry, the heavier it becomes to walk. Crying is the moment you decide to put those stones down, not to deny them, but to alleviate them. It is not a sign of defeat, it's a sign of courage. Courage to look within and allow the truth to manifest. So the next time you feel like you need to cry, don't fight it. Allow. Sit in silence. Put on some music if you need to. Close your eyes and just let it out. Don't blame yourself. Don't be ashamed. Don't pressure yourself to stop quickly. Let crying do its job, cleansing you inside. Because in the end, crying is much less about weakness and much more about emotional hygiene. It's you taking care of your mind. It's you making space for the new. It's you allowing anxiety to no longer control you. There is a high price to pay in postponing what needs to be experienced. You can even hold, contain, resist, but the body and mind have limits. And when these limits are exceeded, repression turns into explosion. How many people do you know who seem calm, balanced, patient, until suddenly they lose control? They scream, they break things, they get sick. It's not because they are naturally out of control. It's because they kept for too long what should have been released in smaller doses. Crying is one of those doses, a natural escape valve. But when you block that valve, the pressure increases. And the greater the pressure, the more devastating the explosion will be. Jordan Peterson explains that unexpressed emotion doesn't go away, it builds up. And this accumulation turns into increasingly intense symptoms. First, it's just a nuisance. Then it turns into anxiety. Later, panic attacks. If you keep repressing it, it can turn into depression, physical breakdowns, total exhaustion. You may even think you are in control, but in reality, it's just postponing the inevitable. And the longer you delay, the more violent the impact will be. Imagine a pressure cooker. If you don't release the steam, it explodes. Your body works exactly like this. Every tear you hold back is accumulated steam, and if you don't allow yourself to let go, your body itself will find a way to let go. But this way often comes in the form of pain, illness, or crisis. Maybe that's why you feel that unexplained exhaustion, or because your mind never turns off, or because even on good days you feel like something is wrong. It's the accumulation asking for space. And here's the hard part. When you don't cry now, you will be doomed to cry later, but in a much more painful way. You will cry when you lose control. You will cry when your body collapses. You will cry when life forces you to stop. Peterson reminds us that the pain we avoid today becomes the suffering that overwhelms us tomorrow. And that's exactly what happens when you don't give tears space. You're not running away from crying. You're just postponing the fall. And perhaps this is the root of so much anxiety, the unconscious fear of an emotional outburst that you know is inevitable. You feel like at any moment everything could fall apart, and that any moment becomes a constant ghost in your mind. But let me give you a different perspective. It's not falling apart that you should fear. It's the accumulation. It's forced silence. It is the internal prison. Because falling apart is part of the rebuilding process. But living in eternal repression is the true condemnation. So I want to challenge you now. Allow yourself to cry before life forces you to. Do this as an act of courage, not desperation. Choose to release what hurts, rather than letting it explode in ways you can't control. You might think, but if I start, I'll never stop. And I answer you, you've been crying inside for years. The difference is that it is crying in silence in symptoms and crises. Letting out tears is just transforming that invisible crying into something liberating. Remember, the tears you hold back today will be the screams your body will give tomorrow. And perhaps, when that day comes, it will be much more painful. So, choose. Or you release it now, or you explode later. The decision is yours. When you think of crying, what image comes to mind? Maybe someone lying on the ground, desperate, aimless, without strength. Perhaps a scene of weakness, of loss, of defeat. But this view is distorted. Crying is not a sign that you have lost. It's a sign that you're still alive. It is proof that your heart has not turned to stone. It's evidence that despite everything you've faced, your soul still feels. Desperation is when you no longer believe there is a way out. Crying, on the contrary, is a sign that you still believe something can change. It is the body saying, I need to release this to continue. Jordan Peterson teaches that truth has a paradoxical power. First it hurts, then it heals. Crying is exactly that. It hurts because you face what you tried to hide, but it heals because finally you stop running away. How many times have you cried and then realized you felt lighter? Maybe not completely resolved, but more breathable, more bearable. This happens because crying opens space for internal reorganization. It takes away unnecessary weight, dissolves accumulated tension, and gives you back the clarity that anxiety steals. This is why we need to change the narrative around crying. It is not synonymous with despair. He is a healing ritual, a silent rite in which body and mind come into agreement, where you accept what you cannot change and find the strength to change what you need to. Have you ever noticed that often after crying you can sleep better? Or that a difficult conversation feels less heavy after you've let the tears fall? This is no coincidence, it's neuroscience. Tears help regulate the nervous system. The body calms down, the mind stops fighting, and anxiety loses ground. But there is something even deeper here. Crying also connects you to what is human. It reminds you that you are not a performance machine, that you weren't born to handle everything alone. That feeling pain doesn't diminish you. It brings you closer to the truth of existence. Peterson talks about responsibility and confrontation, and facing life does not mean ignoring suffering. It means facing it. And crying is a way of coping. To look at the pain and say, I recognize you. I will no longer pretend you don't exist. And in that recognition, something magical happens. Pain stops being a monster and becomes just a part of you. A part that can be welcomed, processed, and over time, transformed. So from today on, when you think about crying, don't associate it with despair. Associate with courage. Courage to feel. Courage to allow yourself to be human. Courage to make space for healing to happen. Maybe you need a safe place for this. Maybe you need to write, pray, listen to music that touches your soul. But allow yourself. Don't hold back. Don't put it off. Because every tear that falls is not just a sign of pain. It is also a step towards freedom. It's you letting go of the weight you no longer need to carry. It's you allowing anxiety to stop being so cruel. If this opened something up in you, share this video. Someone you love may have been holding back tears for years, and you could be the one to free that soul with just this gesture. Perhaps throughout this video you felt your throat tighten at some points. Perhaps you identified with phrases you had never dared to say out loud. Maybe he even felt like crying, but he held it back. And I want to end this journey with an invitation that can transform not only your relationship with anxiety, but your very life. Allow it. Allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to cry. Jordan Peterson reminds us that life is suffering, but it is in the courage to face that suffering that we find meaning. And facing it doesn't mean hardening yourself to stone. Facing up often means allowing yourself to break. Allow yourself to fall apart, to rebuild in a more truthful way. Society has taught you that to burst into tears is to lose. But the truth is that often it is in this falling that you finally get up. Because crying opens space. He cleans. They reorganize. It shows you what was hidden and gives you clarity. And I want you to hear this with an open heart. You don't have to carry this weight alone. You don't have to pretend everything is okay. You don't have to be strong all the time. Your true strength is not in never crying. It's about recognizing when you need it. It's about allowing crying to be part of the process. It's about getting up afterwards, lighter, more aware, more honest with yourself. So maybe today, what you need most is not more resistance, but permission. Permission to stop for a bit. Permission to release. Permission to cry. And it doesn't matter where or how. Be it in the silence of your room, whether it's listening to a song that moves you, whether in prayer, meditation, or just sitting in the dark. But give that space, not because you are weak, but because you deserve a break from the constant struggle against yourself. Anxiety becomes less cruel when you stop fighting the emotion itself, when you understand that crying is not an enemy, but an ally, that it is not a sign of defeat but of transformation. Peterson would say that life demands responsibility, and one of the greatest responsibilities you can take on is to be honest with yourself. Don't be fooled of not betraying yourself. And honesty begins when you look inside and say, yes, I am hurting. And yes, I will allow that pain to express itself. Maybe you will cry today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a week, when I finally can't hold it in anymore. But when that happens, remember these words. You will not fall apart forever. You'll just open yourself up enough to start rebuilding yourself. And every tear that falls will be one less brick in this emotional prison that you have built throughout your life. Therefore, I end by calling on you. Don't put it off any longer. Don't wait to explode. Don't wait until you reach the limit. Choose now. Stop for a few minutes after this video. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow your soul to speak through the tears. You're not alone in this process. Thousands of people live the same silence as you, and maybe by allowing yourself to cry, you'll inspire others to do the same. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. This way, this message can reach someone who right now may be suffocating in silence, and you will have been part of that rescue.